Hey guys, so today I'm doing a video on still a fairly new paintball gun. I don't know why I always try and keep it secret when I do these videos by keeping the paintball gun out of view, because I have it in the title, but you know, it's just kind of fun. So today's episode is on the Milsig CQC. The CQC has been out in the market for, let me see if I can center it here, pull back. The CQC has been on the market for maybe about 5-6 months at this point, maybe not even. It's part of the M17 line of Milsig paintball guns. I've had this for about 3 months now. I've been using it a lot. I friggin' love it. It's a hell of a lot of fun. The CQC is the bottom of the line version of the M17 paintball line. After the CQC, there's the XDC, which is basically exactly the same thing, except it comes with a longer barrel and it's all metal, as opposed to this one, which is basically all plastic. And then after that, there's some like sniper package or something, which is very expensive. It's $1,400. This is $350. The XDC is like $650, and then the sniper package is like $1,400, and it's, you know, it comes with the Milsig rifle barrels, so you can get the extra distance out of the first strikes or the paintballs. It comes with barrel backs. It comes with all the bells and whistles, but for me, this was probably the best bang for my buck. Milsig has a very, very strong following within the paintball community. It's almost elitist, I guess you could say. People who have Milsigs are very kind of, you know, raise their nose at other people on the field a little bit, but you know, I'm happy to be one of them now. When Milsig started, I think they started probably about 4 years ago, maybe more, producing paintball guns. So that would make it 2010 roughly when they started making paintball guns. And when they first started making them, they were using a blowback system, much like a Tippmann 98 or A5, and they were mag-fed, and that was a big deal. They were mag-fed, and they had this gas-through stock, and they were one of the first ones to start doing that. And you know, their paintball guns have just always been really high quality. That's kind of how they became known. Just, you know, really high quality, well built, well thought out design, with good customer service. And those, I believe, were the MK series or the K series paintball guns, and they looked very much like Tippmann 98s in terms of the body design. You know, they had the little slot back here where you cocked it back, and if you put the gas-through stock retrofit there on the back side of it, there would be a line that went from the regulator to the power tube, or whatever the fuck they called it. Not quite sure what they call it. And at some point, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, so around 2011, 2012, they switched from a blowback design to a spool valve design. And they have a very nice spool valve, which they call the heat core. And HEAT is an acronym that I believe stands for High Efficiency Air something. I can't remember. I'm sure someone will correct me. High Efficiency Air oh fuck, I can't remember what the T means. And it is very efficient. This uses the heat core. There was a retrofit for the MK series of blowbacks where you could actually replace the blowback with a heat core. And the thing about those is, you know, they still have all the holes for the operation of the blowback. So when you're using the heat core, you can see it all moving around inside. It's pretty neat. It's a pretty cool mod. I don't know if that was intentionally left that way or not, but it works. After the MK series, which were blowbacks, Milsig started producing the Paradigm series, which, you know, they've always produced expensive guns. That's kind of part of the Milsig mystique, I think, is that they have expensive paintball guns. But you get a lot for what you pay for. And the Paradigm series, basically what distinguished it from the MK series was that it came with the heat core. It didn't come blowback. So this is the M17. And I was talking a little bit about the M17 at the beginning, but the M17 is the first line of Milsig paintball guns that comes with a bolt on the heat core that's specifically designed to shoot first strike rounds. First Milsig gun that comes with these square-headed magazines designed to shoot first strike rounds. And one thing I've learned from my experience with first strike rounds is that you want a gun designed from the ground up to fire first strike rounds. If it can fire first strike rounds, it can fire paintballs, and this can fire first strike rounds. It fires them very nicely. It fires paintballs very nicely. So the CQC, what Milsig had in mind was to build a less expensive but still very high quality polycarbonate paintball gun. And that's what this is. This is a polycarbonate paintball gun. And you know, I talk in some of my earlier videos about staying the hell away from plastic guns. Plastic piece of shit is what I usually refer to them as, or PPOS as an acronym for short. But I researched the spool valve that this heat core is. Technology. High efficiency air technology. That's what it means. I researched this heat core, and you know, spool valve guns work a little differently than other guns. Spool valves keep all the pressure inside the valve. There's nothing expanding in the breech like there is in a blowback. Or like, you know, even one of those polycarbonate E-Techs. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, you know, because you're getting pressure building up in the body of the gun. And from my experience, polycarbonate guns are just shit. They just stop working. They'll work real nice at first, but they will stop working. So I'm doing this review, well, I'm doing this Tom's Gun Show a little prematurely maybe, but I have faith in this gun to continue working because this is 6061 aluminum. This is made out of. This is aircraft grade aluminum that the valve is made out of, and I believe it's got steel components in it, and that's what holds the pressure. So I don't see this gun ever stopping working unless I completely fuck it up. Now there are some downsides to having a completely polycarbonate gun. There are lots of videos on YouTube of people falling on their M17 CQCs, and since it is plastic, it will just completely rip itself apart. It will break. This actually has some cracks in the area of the shroud right here. They're cosmetic, they don't really do anything, but you know, they're there, and it's because it's polycarbonate. It's just, you know, it's just not as strong as the steel. So aside from being designed from the ground up to shoot first strike, there's something else that's kind of special about this, and that is, well, there's actually two things that's kind of special about this. That is, the first one I'm going to talk about is this, the safety. So we've got semi-automatic here, but then if we switch it one farther, there, we have a full auto. It is a mechanical full auto that this thing will go into. And the way that works is when you switch it into the full auto, so I don't know if the camera will pick this up. So when you switch it into the semi, which it's in right now, the trigger will go back this far, right? When you switch it into the full auto, the trigger will go back this far. So the trigger goes back farther when you have it in full auto. It's in semi now. See, it's not going back as far. And what that's doing is it is lifting the sear further away from catching on the bolt. And essentially what you're doing is you're allowing the gun to run away on you, but you're controlling it by how hard you're pulling the trigger. So you can stop it from running away on you by letting off the trigger, and it will, you know, the sear will catch and it will go back to not just going nuts shooting paint. What I've found is that with these First Strike magazines, the straight ones are the First Strike magazines, inside this magazine it doesn't just go straight around. It's not just a straight curve. What it does is, if the First Strike paintball is sitting like this, as it goes down, it starts to rotate the paintball this way so that it can stack them sideways instead of on top of each other, and then it rotates it around like this. So in here there's a twist, and I found that with paintballs, even though this is an 18 round capacity magazine, I only load 15 into it. Because if you load 18 paintballs in here and you start trying to do the full auto, the resistance from the twist in the magazine will actually make it not feed fast enough for the full auto. So I'll load 15 in here, I'll shoot off, you know, 4 or 5, and I'll count them in my head to make sure that I know that this stack is where the paintballs are, that nothing's curling around. And when I know the paintballs are just in this front stack, then I'll do short bursts, just kind of like brah, brah. And that's, yeah, that's what you want to do. You don't want to hold the trigger down and just go through the entire magazine, because it will chop. It's Chop City. So the other thing about this is that since it's a spool valve, you know, a lot of people will say that paintball guns get nicer the more you use them. Spool valves definitely get nicer the more you use them. Every time I take this thing out, it gets a little bit smoother, a little bit faster, a little bit just more responsive, kind of. It's almost like it's learning how I play as I learn how it plays. It's really nice. The feel of it's really nice in the hands. The response it gives you when you pull the trigger is very nice. Again, you want to be careful with it. You don't want to fall on it. You don't want to kind of lead it into whatever you're doing. Yeah, it's, you know, for 350 bucks, man, you can't beat that. Milsig's done something pretty good, I think. They've done a pretty good job. You know, it's got tons of rails. When it comes stock, it's got a barrel that comes to about here. And that was no good, so I've got a big shot, 14-inch big shot barrel on here. Oh, The other thing, one of the things about first strikes is that they have a tendency to jam in the bolt. And when they jam in the bolt, if you're using a retrofitted gun, like a RAP 4 MKV or MKP, really all you can try and do is either recock the gun or tap it to try and get the first strike up. This, since it's designed for first strike rounds, has a charging handle. And what this will do is, if the bolt gets stuck in a forward position because a first strike hasn't entered the breech properly, you just grab this. There you go. You've reset the bolt. The springs in the magazine are a little bit stronger to push up the first strike round, so you don't have to tap it. You just give it one of those and you're good to go. And you know, it's just kind of a nice little touch that Milsig threw in there. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's got a nice weight to it. It's got a nice feel to it. Lots of rails to put things on. Price is right. They're kind of hard to get a hold of right now because they are new and there's a lot of people saying good things about them. Very easy to maintain. It's a spool valve. You know, if you've ever had an auto mag, same thing. Yeah, it's nice. I know I say that about everything, but it's nice. I wish it felt a little sturdier. I'm always kind of conscious of the fact that, you know, if I land funny, I can break things because it's plastic. But $350 as opposed to $650 or $700 or whatever it is for the XDC, which is exactly the same except metal. I'd rather just be careful. I don't think the firing mechanism's ever going to fuck up because that's all metal, and that's, you know, it's the heat core that has been tried and tested. It does get a little gas hungry when you start rocking the full auto, but aside from that, it'll get easily 100 shots out of a 13 CI. It's nice. If you have the opportunity, go out and get one. I don't normally review a lot of new guns, but this, pretty new, pretty awesome. Good job, Milsig.